Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to another Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents. And this week, we're looking forward to a London Derby in Game Week 24, which takes on far bigger significance after announcements of double game weeks for both clubs in Game Week 27. Firstly, let me introduce you to our Brentford correspondent, Tom Med. How are you, mate?
I'm good, yeah, not bad, mate, at all. How are you?
I'm not too bad at all, thank you, mate. Yeah, moving swiftly on from the Leicester debacle. And our Crystal Palace correspondent, Migtavius, is in. And for those on YouTube, go on, Mig, reveal yourself.
Ba-bam!
Tom, can you, just for my benefit,
Just describe what
yeah,
you see.
can you describe to the podcast listeners what Mig has done?
An enigma is definitely one of the. I mean, many birthday items, a sash, some beautiful birthday sunglasses, and a fantastic. Is that a cake birthday hat as well?
It is. It's a cake.
That is beautiful, Mig.
I was going to blow this, but it would set the dogs off.
Blow it, please. That could make a remarkable intro, couldn't it? Well done, mate. Thank you. Mig, is it your birthday or something? It was 2 days ago. Was it Friday?
Yeah, it was a couple of days ago. Yeah, I just haven't changed.
I will politely not ask
and it's for
you
Tom's
how
in a few
old you
weeks.
are. And it's
yeah.
Is it yours soon as well, Tom?
Yeah, start March. So
all right,
just for the double game week.
Let's make this a party then. Yeah, you two are both coming back on prior to that, as long as FPL Seagull doesn't butter it. Hi, Sam. Hope you're well. Sending love as always. Tom, I want to start with you on a serious note. Do you remember the podcast you recorded with myself and Suj?
Yeah.
For correspondent week, not the summer gone, but the summer before. And do you remember what my closing words were to you?
I don't, but go on, remind me.
I said, enjoy it.
Yeah, I do. Okay, yeah, I do remember that.
I said, enjoy it, because at that time, it was remarkable that you'd got in the league and it might just be 1 year. And we reflected on it and went, I don't want you to sit here in 9 months and go, oh, that went by. We were in the Premier League. I don't know what that was all about. Well, it's definitely going to be a third year.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean,
how good could this be?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the second season syndrome was going to be tough. It's absolute breeze, isn't it? It's a walk in the park. So yeah, it's, well, I mean, I'll let you know next year when we're playing Bayern Munich in the Champions League. It's just been ridiculous. It's just getting better and better. Was it 10 unbeaten now? So
and during that period, you've played Man City, Liverpool,
yeah,
Arsenal now, obviously after the draw on Saturday. So it's not like you've had the easiest run of fixtures either.
Mm-hmm.
You've won 2 of them. You've drawn 2 of them. That includes obviously drawing at the Emirates, winning at the Etihad. I feel like you're part joking about Champions League, but actually, is it possible?
I'd say no. But I mean, Conference League, Europa League places are probably not stupidly unbelievable. I mean, a boy can dream. So I'm like, I mean, where we're at the moment, it's honestly, it could go. How many points? We're 36 points already, aren't we? So I mean,
34 you're on.
34. So I mean, we could pretty much go through the rest of the season not doing pretty much anything and be fine for next year. So I'm pretty happy with how the season's gone so far. For the people listening on audio, I'm incredibly smug. So yeah, it's great.
You're allowed to be, mate. You've lost the same amount of games this season as Manchester City.
I didn't realize that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the form, the last 10 games have been insane. The games, obviously, I mean, the Liverpool game was incredible. I mean, probably if we put in a bit of a better second half performance against yourselves, we probably should have beaten you. And we definitely should have beaten Arsenal yesterday. So thank God for VAR for putting that one right.
Yeah, bar dodgy VAR call, which Mig's team also very much benefited from. Let's toss a coin over which one was the worst decision, actually. But you did deserve the point you got, didn't you, Tom? At Arsenal,
yeah,
as a minimum.
Toney hit the crossbar. Rico Henry sort of completely fluffed one across. There was, I think Toney created something stupid like 1.4 xG in the game, and he's only created like 10 all season. So. Yeah, it was like insane. He was on fire yesterday, just couldn't put it in the back of the net. So a bit unlucky, but he could have on another day with the way he's playing at the moment. He could have had He could have easily had a hat trick yesterday.
He's another draw though. Only you and Newcastle in double figures now for draws this season. But I think it feels more like go back and highlight that record that you've lost the same amount of games as Man City. You've lost half the games of my team, Tottenham. We've lost 8. You've lost 4 games. That said, you've won only 8. And I feel like it says a lot for you that we're criticizing you and going, you've won only 8. Because if you turned 2 or 3 of those draws into wins, you legitimately really would be in a race for 4th right now.
I think
you would be 5th in the league.
We've thrown away a couple, haven't we, this season? There's been a few. I mean, with the Arsenal game yesterday. We talked about the Spurs game we talked about earlier. And there's been games we've turned up and just done nothing. I mean, before we've gone on this 10-game run, I think the last loss was a 4-0 loss to Villa. So right. in that time, that was the first match with Emery, wasn't it? But that was the first match they got rid of Gerrard. But we've had some pretty poor results. If you think back to the first game of the season, obviously, I know we came back and drew with Leicester, but we were 3-0 down at one point in that game. So, 2-0 down in that game. Yeah. So, yeah. But then you look at the sort of the amount, what we're the second lowest spending, budget team in the whole of the Premier League, and we're currently sat. And then you compare. I mean, everyone's talking about obviously Fulham are playing well, but they've spent a lot more money than us over the last few years. Obviously, Nottingham Forest and all these teams around us have all spent more money than us, and have a team that's worth a lot more money. So, yeah, as I said, pretty smug at the moment. So,
did you just reflect on how you felt before the Arsenal game? Do you genuinely believe you would get something out of the game?
Yeah, no, I actually, genuinely did. No, I think it's one of those. I assumed we'd lose, but I'd assume we'd play well, if that made sense. I mean, because I wasn't expecting the Arsenal to come play, who played Everton last week. I expected them to sort of come. I think even after the Everton game, I expected them to come and be like, right, we're going to just blow Brentford away, sort of thing. But they didn't at all. They looked very, very poor, but I think half it we made them look quite bad. We'll say low block, but defensively we were fantastic. So
we'll come back onto the system, because we had conversations last year where we didn't know what was happening, and I think it's quite clear now what's going on, which I'd like to come back to. But want to get Mig in with his get up into the conversation. Mig, are you relieved that you did not lose to Brighton first and foremost?
Oh, of course.
And will they ever beat you again?
Well, I mean, it's nearing on 1,500 days now, so I mean, it may just be a curse. It may be a guaranteed couple of points each season. I mean, we're obviously going in 2 kind of different directions at the moment. They're playing really well. They're getting good players, Mitoma and such like that, and we're stagnant is probably a good word. But when it comes to a fierce game, it was huge luck to get 1, the VAR decision, 2, for Sanchez to have overly buttered his toast at half time or something. Although, McAllister should really have been sent off with his high studs on Decore. So, the VAR sort of situation sort of evens out there.
I haven't seen that, in fairness.
Oh, you should see it. For what when Mitchell got his red card a couple of weeks ago, it's pretty much a similar thing. Studs, shin height.
Well, I don't think we can talk about refereeing consistency at the moment. They can't even draw the lines in the right place.
They've had a strong week.
No point having a conversation of consistency when they can't even get the actual factual bits right. You raise an interesting point about, in reality, Brighton are obviously doing very well at the moment. Part of the real anger with Tottenham over the last few months has been partly because Arsenal have been doing so well. Is that part of the problem for Palace at the moment, that the rival is doing really well at the moment? Does that add to ill feeling?
Oh, it's not going to benefit it at all. You're going to be looking at players like, Brighton lose arguably one of their best players from last season in Trossard, and then they just immediately replace him with a new player that's a replacement player that's now playing out of his skin and is one of the best players in the team. And you're thinking, well, why can't our team do that? We were crying out for stuff during January, like a new right back, someone up front that could score some goals, and we got 2 centre midfielders, and then we go and lose Anderson for a few games. Mitchell gets his red card, and I mean, we're having to draft in Tompkins, who's obviously a magnificent guy who scores wonderful goals, but it's not it's not great seeing them so high.
Are you worried for yourselves this season? Are you worried about going down? Because you've still got a bit of a buffer at the moment.
Yeah, they're still. Thankfully, the teams below us are kind of in a similar situation where they're not picking up points. But I've over the last few years, I've kind of got a bit more comfortable to not being dragged down, because we tend to have a bit of a slump during the middle of the season, and then we sort of pick up enough points that we look comfortable towards the end, and then we kind of go to the beach for the last few weeks. So I'm not really worried about going down. It's just having the same old thing again and again and again, and that's when fans get despondent. That's what happened to Roy. It was just call it boring, but then he's only been in for Patrick's only been in for a couple of seasons. You've got to trust the process, as it were.
You said the word stagnant, though. That's how it feels. It feels like, I think a lot of us were very, very impressed with what we saw for Palace last year. And a lot of us thought that you would probably kick on and be borderline for finishing top half this year. And despite the fact you're 12th, it doesn't feel like that's likely, partly because you've got a really tough run of fixtures coming up that doesn't help. It feels like defensively, you've got worse. And it doesn't feel like the quality of football's improved on some of the exciting stuff we saw at certain times last season.
Yeah, it's the last season we done quite well having the sort of defensive solidity that we had. We had a back four, but now this season Anderson's been out for a couple of games, then Guy got sent off, and Mitchell's not been in form, and he's kind of played schlup back at left back at times. The right back is switching all the time, so that's not been great. Had teams, although he got man of the match in the last one. But yeah, going into the season with Elise, Eze, Zaha, Edouard as a sort of a front four prospect, you're kind of thinking, oh, that's going to be really exciting. They're going to be really fast. It will help with our counter attacking. And then it just, I don't know if it's something with Palace and having strikers and forward players that don't, we've never been prolific with goals, but you're thinking having more creative players would at least create more opportunities for a less prolific striker to get more goals. I mean, it just hasn't. We had a good start to the season, and it kind of dropped off a bit around the World Cup, and it just hasn't sort of picked up again since. So, but we tend to not do too bad when you have a bad run of games, because we're just kind of going into it going, well, we're not the favoured team. We're not expected to have.
We always say when you always seem to have a bad run like what you're in the middle of now, fixture wise, and you always do quite well, and then you have that really good run. I mean, you look at your fixtures from game week 29; it's the best of any team till the end of the season. But you probably won't do as well in that period as we'd anticipate you will,
because we're not a possession-based team.
What's interesting about that is, I think with you, we always have this psychological thing, Selhurst is really tough to go, or Palace are always capable of causing a shock. You haven't beat a team in the top half all season, mate.
Not great, is it? Not great.
No, not really. Not for a team. And to be fair, even, very recently against United at Selhurst Park, you pulled a point out the bag. But things like losing 4-0 at home to my team, I mean, it's bad.
Yeah. It's the sort of thing where we can put in the strong performances, but then if we go a couple of goals behind, especially in like the first half or something like that, we can very easily crumble. It's a very confidence-based team. Like when we're in full flow, then it's great. I mean, I think that the only game we've won in the last 8, I think it is when we like beat Bournemouth 3-0 or something like that. But when we have like those, it can be great. But then most of the time, it's the heads go down. Oh, we need to grab a goal. Who are we going to look to? Oh, there's Wilf. Oh, he's got 3 players on him. Who else is going to step up? Thankfully, we've had in the last few weeks where we grabbed draws and stuff like against United, it's taken things like Elise scoring a free kick from 30 yards or Sanchez dropping the ball and giving it to Tompkins. And we've needed those run of lucky well, I mean, I don't want to say Elise was lucky because he's got ice running through his veins. That doesn't even celebrate, but you need those sort of things in the season to keep it going. But we need those to kick us on to right. Okay, we've got those results. We've drawn against Man United. We played well against Brighton and got a point out of it. If anything, just to sort of pee them off that they didn't beat us again. Take that into the next game, and hopefully sort of kick on from there. But it's easy to say that, and then you come up against Ivan Toney, which would he just get burned already, please?
Well, okay, great segue, Mig. Let's go straight on to that then, because I mean, it depends which band do you think Mig is talking about, Tom?
Well,
Because
probably yellow cards because the betting one's never coming, is it? So,
have you heard anything about the betting stuff and in terms of when something might happen? Or
I think I Google it at least 3 times a day, just begging that nothing comes up, and no, still nothing. Like literally, I honestly don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe they're too busy looking at Man City now and they've forgotten about it. We can dream and hope, but I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea because when is it going to come? And if it's a time ban, I mean, it maybe get to a point where he's banned from football for 4 months and we're in April, May, then well, he's going to spend most of that in summer on the beach. So
yes, I
no
guess.
idea.
Yeah, actually you raise a very, very good point. Actually, probably best thing for Brentford, particularly, I don't know, let's just say European qualification did look like it was going to become really, really difficult. If he did get banned for 5 calendar months, for example, at the beginning of April.
Yeah, perfect
for you, isn't it? Basically, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. We bed in the new kiddie, and he can have a nice holiday for a few months. So,
but these 8 yellow cards,
that's a bit more annoying.
First and foremost, how's he managed to get himself onto 8 yellows? There's certain players where I feel like Mitrovic feels like a good example. You feel like he gets involved in scraps and needle moments. Toney doesn't. How has he managed to get himself on 8 yellows?
Pass. He does a lot. He does a lot of stupid stuff towards the end of games. It just sort of. It's always like, I think, not the most recent one. I remember the one for the 5th yellow card. He got it in like the 92nd minute, and it was like, "What are you doing?" Just like it's the end of the game with one. Just chill out, sort of thing. He just seems to put in like. I'm not sure whether it's like a desire to win back the ball and the position he's and the sort of the way he's playing, but it's almost like he just gets himself into that sort of pressing slightly further forward bit, like just ahead of midfield, and it's almost like he's the first person to go and get the ball, and he's obviously not a very good defender, so he just puts a boot in and usually gets a yellow card towards the end of the game. So,
do you think he needs them for an acca?
Yeah, yeah. He wants to get the yellow. He's got 20 booking points on, so he just needs to put yellow on.
He's got a supremacy betting, isn't he? I'm going to be banned from game week 26 or something. But from an FPL perspective, there's a problem there, isn't there?
It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
If he gets 1 in the next 2, which is obviously it's Palace at home, blank, Fulham at home, he's going to go into a double, which is incredibly attractive. And certainly there's a lot of people will be thinking, I want to captain him in that week. Mm-hmm. Everton away and Southampton away. If he's on 9 yellows, that's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to be fun. So
because as well, it's a 2 game. It's a 2 game, to clarify as well. Once you hit 10 yellows, it's a 2 game ban. So it's not even 1. So you could be in a position where suddenly he misses, for example, the second double of 27, and he could miss the first part of a double for you in 29. If Leicester win in the cup and you blank in 28, for example, and that's brutal.
Let's just hope not. Let's just hope he doesn't do anything for a while. Yeah, no, it definitely is. He's obviously incredibly important. So from a Brentford point of view, and obviously from an FPL point of view, if you want him for those. So yeah, I'm just hoping that he can get through that unscathed with the next few games. So
how good is he?
He is ridiculous. Yeah, I think from the way I've watched him over the last couple of years, I'd say he's like a not very good Harry Kane. Because obviously he's not Harry Kane, but like the way he can, like his passing is. I mean, the pass he put into Rico Henry yesterday was fantastic. Can score goals, and the way that they've been using him is a bit like what Spurs use Kane as. Obviously, drop a little bit deeper, get the ball, and then just pick out beautiful passes left, right, and centre. So, I think that's where he is at the moment.
Do you think a Manchester United could come and buy him in the summer? Or look to buy him? And do you think he's good enough to play for United?
Yeah, I think he has the ability to step up again and go into the next thing. Whether people get put off him with obviously the ban overhanging him at the moment, we're not really sure what that is. I think United will set their stall out a little bit higher and go for the better version of Ivan Toney, Harry Kane. So sorry,
all right.
mate.
Well, no, it's okay, because I think if that happens, we'll be coming for Toney, mate.
Yeah, but it's honest. Well, you're already after David Raya, so you may as well just
please let me have David Raya, please.
Honestly, I actually think I'll cry, to be honest. So, yeah, no, he's definitely good enough to play in one of the top 6 teams. Hopefully, we will be one of those top 6 teams. But at the end of the day, I mean, as much as I can dream and tell, yeah, we are. What, we've got a 17,500 seater stadium, and we're not a big team. As much as I'd love that to be the dream, it's potentially not that way.
But also, you are right to say that if there's still no information on the ban come the summer,
then no one's going to touch him, are they?
That's got to be who's going to invest. I mean, how much would you want? Being a realistic figure, what money do you think Brentford accept? Where I think you're right to say and acknowledge that if Man United come and buy him, he would probably want to go. The club probably wouldn't stand in their way, but we know they'll drive a hard price. What do you think they would accept?
I mean, add English tax to that, you're looking at least 40 million, I think.
Wow, I think you're massively understating that, Tom.
Well, I'm just thinking how we
think near a double.
We'll take him for 40 mil.
Yeah, he
ain't going to Palace. Sorry,
Watkins went for 25, and obviously he's proven himself now at a good level. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and add the English tax onto it. Yeah, you're looking maybe then 50. Hey, well, who knows? I mean, if it was me selling him, we'd stick another 0 on the end of it, because we shouldn't be selling him. So
I'm
surprised how low you said. I was expecting you to say sort of 70-ish or something like that.
No, I just don't think. I don't know. I'm not.
Why
sure.
not? Look at some of these mad transfer fees going around, and you're right as well. You will pay a premium from an English player. He's proven in the league.
Chelsea are looking for a striker, and if they listen to this,
yeah, you don't need to convince me. That's fine. Yes, the minimum that Brentford want is 80 million, 90 million. You know what? Let's go for the record 100. Let's go 110.
David Raya, you mentioned, would be upsetting. His contract situation is a little bit different, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
so he's out of contract, not this summer, but the next summer.
After, yes.
And you can see, we've obviously already mentioned United, Tottenham, Chelsea might be looking for a goalkeeper as well. He could go, couldn't he, at the end of the season? He's chop draw, mate.
Oh, he's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, just the way he absolutely did that beautiful little back heel yesterday against us. So that was nice. Yeah, I think he will go. We've offered him, according to sources, basically he was offered what could be described as a lifetime deal to stay at Brentford. I think it was like an 8 or 9 year contract. And he has rejected it, I believe. But I think it's one of those where they are talking to him, and obviously he still plays, and every weekend he posts about what a great performance the team put in, and it's not like he's not playing for the team, if that makes sense. So I don't think it's really it could be one of those where tomorrow we could see David Raya signs a new 15-year contract. I wouldn't even be surprised. He's one of those players. I think it will just be depending on what comes in for him, but with the likes of obviously Lloris is now getting old and injured. De Gea's not getting any older, getting any younger, and obviously I doubt Henderson will ever come back to United with what he said in summer. So yeah, you're sort of looking that way, and sadly, I think he will go. But I mean, hopefully, we did sign a very capable backup keeper last year. So
last summer,
yeah,
we were all saying, "Oh my God, he's 4.5. We're all going to have him." And most of us haven't. And he's 4 points away from being the highest scoring goalkeeper in the game. And still, the majority of us don't have him.
I didn't do it to the World Cup. So, I mean.
So why didn't you own him afterwards?
Because there was a stupid bloke called Kepa who just decided to get points every other game. So
that's fair.
Yeah, it was a good decision. But yeah, I mean, he's just ridiculous. I mean, they conceded to Arsenal yesterday and he got 6 points. So.
Yeah. What is that, isn't it? I think he's if he's not most for saves in the league, he's very close, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
You allow a lot of low XG shots and stuff.
It's
which
just
from an FPL perspective really helps, doesn't it?
The amount of outside of the goal, like outside the penalty box, like crappy shots that we get on. It's quite nice. So yeah,
it doesn't. He's like, and we've been linked with Sanchez as well. Obviously, dropped the clanger at Selhurst at the weekend. I just can't ever think of a Raya goal where I've looked at him afterwards and gone, he's made a big rick there.
He did in the championship, but as soon as he stepped into the Prem, that last season in the championship, and then as soon as he did in the Premier, I can't remember the last big mistake he's made. He's letting a few easy goals, but
he's so much better with his feet than people give credit as well. He's very good,
incredible. Yeah, he's. I think it's weird as it's going to sound. I actually think I'll be more sad if Raya leaves than if Toney leaves.
All right. When we get him off you, mate, I'll send you the commiserations.
Yeah, don't buy them both, please. But you can have one, but not both.
For point of reference, just quickly, Raya is top for saves.
Thank you, Mig. I knew he was very close. Thank you, mate.
12 ahead of second place Leno.
12 ahead.
It's not Vicente Gaeta, though, is it, Mig?
He's fourth.
Is he really?
Just behind Pickford, 72.
Where you're quite interested, Mig, is in the sense that I'd already mentioned it. Your good run of fixture starts from game week 29. But from an FPL perspective, it basically starts from 27 with the double against City and Brighton, just purely because it's 2 fixtures. And also in 28, you have got a fixture. Yes, it's away to Arsenal, but you have a fixture that's, unless you concede 4s and more, it's going to be more than what teams with obviously without a fixture are going to get. So in theory, your good run from an FPL perspective starts from 27. Is someone like Gaeta someone we could consider?
I mean,
do you think he's safe in goal?
Oh, safe in goal, yeah. I can't imagine he wouldn't be safe until maybe like the drag weeks of the season when people start trying different things, especially if we're safe by then. I thought Johnson might have come in a bit earlier, but then they probably would have taken an injury or a huge dip in form from Guaita for Johnson to get the knock ahead of him. So yeah, he's a relatively safe pair of hands. He's a good shot stopper, a bit dodgy from crosses, but anyone can be nowadays. So yeah, you can consider him. I don't see why not. I mean, obviously, there's probably better options like Raya, and obviously Kepa's a similar price. But yeah, why not? I mean, there's not much else to consider.
No, but this is part of the problem. Is this is a perfect example where I think a lot of people have got certain issues at the moment. Where if you wanted to buy Raya or Gaeta right now, we'd probably all collectively agree it's probably Raya. But if you need the goalkeeper in 25 and Brentford aren't playing, because you're sitting there with, I don't know, a 3.9 not playing goalkeeper or something, it's massively off-putting, isn't it, Tom? Tom's frozen, blinded. I'll ask that question to Mig.
Yeah, I mean, and it also helps because obviously having a team like Brentford who are in form, they obviously have an array of other assets so you can go for like me and Toney and even Mbumo and stuff, where in a team like Palace, someone like Guaita sort of stands out more of an asset because there's not really much else around him doing anything. So, and he's obviously a little bit cheap. Well, he's 0.3 cheaper than Raya, but so he's not a bad price to have as a backup keeper just to sort of throw in on a blank game week or to throw in a double game week if your main one's not playing or has only got one fixture. So I don't. Obviously, you'd want the better people, but I think he's not too far off in terms of FPL points wise. I don't think how far he is off him points wise.
Tom's unfrozen. What Brentford have you got at the moment, Tom?
Just Toney at the moment.
What's the plan?
Whoa.
Just waiting for obviously the blanking 25s, but it caused me the issues really on that one. So, defender will be probably in for the double. Potentially a midfielder as well. Depending.
There is no way you've got an attractive double game week. There is no way you're not getting into that with free Brentford, mate. I know you.
I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. I used my triple captain on Rashford last week. Honestly, that'd have been. It just would have been like, who cares about points at that point? It'd just been fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Tony gets banned, and you'd be triple captain and Boomo, wouldn't you?
I actually would, to be fair. Why not?
I know you would.
Yeah, I mean, Toney definitely. Probably a defender. Probably be I mean, we always say it. I always come on every time I come on, and then we always talk about obviously the centre backs and blah blah blah. But I always go Rico Henry. Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing every single week, every single time, isn't it? And he still just hasn't quite got it yet. He should have scored against Arsenal, but he is getting far forward. And when they play a 5-back, he just plays ridiculously far forward. So to be honest, probably for the double, have Ben Mee because he'll be sat at left back in a 4. So
is he also available? So I'm not trying to buy out your whole team, but
no, definitely not. No, you can't have him. He's too good.
Is there a line?
There's a line you've crossed, and
I think his England call up has got to be there. Honestly, I'm being genuine now.
Why, honestly, Luke Shaw, can he just be shit again? Because the guy deserves a chance. He's been unbelievable this year. I mean, the last time he got injured was about 6 years ago, which was injured for like a good portion of the season. Hasn't been injured since. Is just constantly like. He's just like a constant, like 8 out of 10 every performance.
We really liked him, but I've seen power in his game this year. He's
stronger.
His athleticism has improved massively as well. And when you switch up system, which you do in some of the more, in fact, nearly all of the more difficult games, and go to a wing back, he almost becomes more of a weapon in
he's so far
of the more
forward.
difficult games. Yeah,
like yesterday. I mean, he basically
should have scored.
Oh, should have scored absolutely. I mean, he's in the box on his own. With just Ramsdale beat, and that's when you show he's a left wing back, not a striker. But the position he puts up is like he basically plays as a winger rather than as a wing back. So he is so good. He's so quick as well. I would be interested to know how fast he can run because it's crazy.
I think he's top of the agenda for me, and that's not to say like those are on Ben Mee, like brilliant. It's just if I enter, it's probably going to be on 27, and I'd rather go for Henry.
I think the only issue with
with the differential on it.
I agree, and I probably will do the same. But I think the only issue with it is, and obviously you said about the system, it's like we will more than likely play 4 at the back against
Everton and Southampton.
Exactly, and so therefore, if we're playing 4 at the back, he will play more as a left back rather than a wing back, and therefore won't be he will still get up the field, but not as much as he would do if we're playing a 5-back against bigger teams. He's almost better playing against the bigger teams as an FPL asset.
So basically this year, you've basically only played back 5 against basically the big 6, it feels like.
And Leeds,
Leeds away. Yeah, Leeds away. Leeds is a weird one because of how they come in your face. Someone skipped that.
What? What?
That's what she said.
How they press off the ball. Sorry, slip of the tongue. Mig, take over. Save me, mate. Mig's got the party poppers back out. No, I think Leeds you put into a separate bracket to some of the others. So I think you're right. Like against Palace, you probably go back to back 4.
Yeah.
So that a weird way to take away from Henry's appeal?
I think so. Yeah, I think so because he doesn't play when you got the back 3. He's secure and he's obviously given license just to leg it up and down the left side, basically. Basically go wherever he wants. If he needs to come back to defend, he'll come back to defend. If he's allowed to get up further forward, I think he does that. So I think that's when it's almost, in a weird way, it's almost the harder games he becomes a better asset, and in the easier games he becomes a worse asset, depending on what formation we're playing. So yeah.
If I said you now buy one on 27, which one are you going for?
Now we've talked about it, maybe Ben Mee. So I still think Ethan. I mean, Ben Mee, I assume, has gone up in price. So I mean,
Ethan, he's 4.9 now.
So get Ethan Pinnock instead. Then he's 4.4.
Or what about you, boy? You was raving about Roslev's performance at the Emirates, weren't you?
He was incredible. Yeah, he was. For me, he was man of the match against Arsenal. But
that's risky though, isn't it?
Aaron Hickey's coming. Yeah. Aaron Hickey was fit last week. So I think maybe Frank's still managing his minutes a little bit. But for me, Hickey still will be. I mean, we spent a good amount of money on him, and he's very good. Roslev's been fantastic this year. I think he's really up there. Like last year, I think we all said when he came in for certain games, he looked a bit dodgy. This year, I think it's almost like, well, I'm playing in the team at the moment, so you know, if Hickey wants to come back in, then he's got to push me out. I think Hickey's quality will show, and he'll be back in the team. But Roslev has been good, but he's gone up to 4.3. I think he was 4 at the start of the season. So
no, don't be silly. People haven't been buying him. Tom, he'd have been 4.5, mate.
Oh right, he's just dropped.
Yeah, no, he would have dropped off. So you think if it's back 4, Mee and Pinnock as the centre backs, in your opinion?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
No doubts because Ager's back fit now.
No, Pinnock's been incredible. Ben Mee's. I actually say there's more doubt in Ben Mee than there would be on Pinnock.
Oh well, that's interesting.
Because I mean, he's not the youngest man in the world, Ben Mee, is he? He's been fantastic. I mean, pound for pound, he's probably been the best signing in the Premier League this year because we got him on a free. So from a value point of view, you can't really.
No, I can't.
Erling Haaland too. So yeah, so no, I actually say probably Ben Mee. Once Aya's back fit and back up, I mean, he's played in a few games and he's not been amazing, but obviously he's still struggling with a few injuries. But I'd actually say Pinnock's probably more secure of a position than Ben Mee. As good as Ben Mee has been this year, he has been incredible. But what is he, 32, 33?
Yeah, but I think the way you play in the position he plays,
Not too bad, yeah.
I wouldn't be worried about that.
Aya can also play right back though as well, so that's sort of,
I think
anything.
Hickey is 4.9 anyway, and Roslev, I think it's too risky. If you wanted one of the fullbacks, it's Henry by miles, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If you're going for one of the fullbacks, you go for Henry. And I'm just checking. I'm pretty sure because I'm pretty confident Pinnock's played pretty much every game. Yeah. I mean he's played every game since game week 10, and that's because he was injured at the start of the season. So he's not dropped a single minute.
So an alternative. Does he ever look like scoring though, Tom?
I mean, he's literally a man mountain. That he is usually the man that people target for the long throws. It's only since Ben Mee's come in that there's two target men.
He's flicking the throws on, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, he's definitely there. I think it's one of those where we can obviously say it because Ben Mee scored some goals and everyone's aware of that, but it could have easily been Ethan Pinnock scoring the goals and everyone steamrolling into him instead. So I don't think there's much to choose between them. And I mean, yeah, points wise is obviously a big difference because I mean he's injured for the whole of the season. Well, Ben Mee scored 3 goals this season, and Pinnock's. I don't think he's got any, but I personally I go Pinnock over Mee because I mean he's huge, he heads everything, and I don't see why. For the fact that Mee's got more of the bonus points, isn't he? That's where he's getting a lot of his points at the moment, I think.
Well, the offensive returns help, don't they?
Oh yeah. So 3 goals and an assist so far this season for Ben Mee. Nothing for Ethan Pinnock, but
I think
security in the team.
I think you're right though. There are alternatives here. Like Henry and Pinnock are both very, and obviously David Raya as well, very viable alternatives to. I've got to get Ben Mee, for example. Like I don't think that's the case. Mig, for you, if someone said to you this week, "Can I buy your 3.9 defender, James Tompkins?" What would you say to them?
Oh, you're okay.
Okay, that's good. Anderson will come back in for him when he's fit, won't he?
Yes, I would. Yes. I can't even finish. I couldn't think of an analogy to make that sound less crazy than it is. Yeah, he'll come straight back in.
If people wanted to buy a Palace defender, would it have to be Mitchell or Gay at the moment?
The cheapest possible.
So Gay 4.4, Mitchell 4.4, Klein and Ward, as you said, keep rotating. I mean, Ward's got a calf injury that's likely to keep him out for a couple of weeks. It seems he always wants to play Klein against pace. So like Klein played against Rashford, for example. Ward is not getting any younger. Mitchell, I think, is reasonable at 4.4, but possibly later in the season. When are we expecting Wilf back, Mig? Because I think there was a few of us on Friday were thinking, I'm not sure if I believe Patrick Vieira, he might be in that team against Brighton.
Yeah, I should imagine he'd be back by then. He tends to have quite a good recovery periods. He tends to have, like, when he gets an injury, he's normally back ahead of schedule. So I should imagine he'd probably be out for another game or two. But yeah, he should be back for Brighton. That's probably the game he's aiming to get back for. Obviously, you want to play against City because he missed out going to the Etihad a couple of seasons ago when we got the win. But he'll obviously want to be back against City.
If he plays against Villa in 26 prior to the double, I think he'll become quite popular with people. Mig, just smash your camera on and off for a second for us, please, mate, while I'm rabbiting. Just to help our mate Nico out. It'll become interesting quite quickly. I think particularly for people who spunk their chips. We always live in this bubble like, we've all got chips. There'll be people listening to this ain't got any chips. And again, that fixture run is great till the end of the season, and it will become attractive, won't it? But Wilf lets us down with these attractive runs, doesn't he, Mig?
He does. As someone who had him pre the World Cup, it was good. You know, he got a couple of goals. He was in good form when the World Cup came, and then we had a couple of good fixtures after the World Cup, and I was like, I'll leave him there. I'm not going to touch him. You know, I think it was Fulham and Bournemouth. Didn't really do much, and then we had a couple of good games where I thought maybe, you know, I've got other fires. I'll leave him there. Nothing. So yeah, he's always that thing where he can either go crazy for a couple of weeks and grab a goal every other game or grab an assist, always involved, or you have these good runs like we had the earlier season and the season before where loads of people buy him in and he does nothing and becomes the troll of Twitter. But people will buy him in. I'll probably buy him in. I mean, I've bought him in before and triple captain him because, you know,
because why not?
I do shit like this. So
you and Tom can support do make up your own support group between the two of you. I think I triple captained the player from my team. I've never triple captained Harry Kane, guys. I'm just saying that.
No, you know, some of us live for the fun of an assist in a double game week.
Actually, enjoy FPL still.
I think I did, you know. I think I did in the COVID season, actually. Yeah, I think I did.
It took COVID to do it.
8 points I think he got, which is definitely still better than that Sadio Mane 1-pointer that I can never get out of my head. Why Mig has Eze not played the last couple? He didn't start in the home game against United. Then he was back in the team. The natural thing I think most outsiders would be, right, Zaha's not available. Yeah. He'll pick up the mantle and become the key man. But he's not started the last two. That seems weird on the outside to me.
It felt weird on the inside as well, to be fair. It seemed like between him and Elise, he was the one who was always getting the starts, and Elise was the sort of sub that would come on. And now they've sort of switched roles slightly. I mean, Elise has obviously been in good form. He's got, I say good form, he's the one who's actually got a couple of returns. But yeah, I thought with Zaha out, that's kind of at least cemented Eze in a sort of a number 10 role. But I can understand against teams like United that he probably wanted to go a little bit more defensive, maybe not risk getting caught out too far forward. But, you know, against Brighton, where you're at home, the fans want you to at least have a go at them. You would kind of want to be a bit more attacking. But then, you know, I'm not a Premier League manager, but yeah, it was quite surprising, and I don't think I was alone in that fact when I saw some of the comments.
With Elise, interesting, he said, just looking, since game week 9, he started all but 2 games, which was at home to Newcastle and away to Leicester. But over that run, Mig, there's only the 2 goals, the worldy free kick against Man United and a deflected effort that won the game at West Ham for you before the World Cup. So, I mean, he's not blessed with returns there, 2 assists at Bournemouth. Other than that, you're looking at a lot of blanks in there. Would he be worth a gamble for you at 5.4 once the double comes around, do you think?
Probably not. I really want to say yes, but I can't. I mean, if we're going into it and he's looking a bit more, maybe gets another goal just going into it, then yeah, why not? Could he doesn't lack in confidence by the looks of it. You know, he's a young lad. He thinks highly of himself. You know, he's doing a job. But he hasn't kicked on like I think most of us would have hoped.
He's very talented, but yeah, the next bit's adding the returns.
Yeah, but then it was a similar thing with Wilf when he was like a few years ago. It was like he's always getting into the box, he's always bursting down, and then it's his end product that sort of let him down. And he's developed that, and now he's better with an end product. So I'm hoping the likes of Eze and Elise could have the same this season. Maybe a little bit too early for that, but if you're going to take a punt, you might as well take a punt on a cheaper asset, someone like an Eze or an Elise, maybe more than a Wilf. But then someone like Wilf, you're pretty much guaranteed minutes unless he's injured.
And pens probably as well, which means he can even have off days and get the returns. Which one, Mig, of the 2 forwards Edouard and Mateta, who are both now 5.1. Mateta started the last one. Which one of the two do you think is going to become a fad once we hit game week 27? I know people will be talking about one of them. Which one's it going to be? Just because of how cheap they are.
As the thing is, it would be literally whoever. Because I would still say Edouard is probably the better of the two, but it happened last season where Mateta played 2 games in the FA Cup, scored a goal against Brighton, done really well, and then he was like locked in for the rest of the season. It could simply be in the next couple of games, if Edouard gets a goal or Mateta gets a goal, that would be the number one go. I'd probably still go with Edouard out of the two of them, but I'd probably say Edouard come the double game weeks will be the fad.
I can just see that we get in a situation, say where if Leeds win in the cup, and then Leeds have got a single fixture in 27, which is Brighton, which isn't the easiest, and then say they blank in 28. I can see people sitting there with Nonto and no money in the bank being, I want to get a double up. Oh, and he covers the blank as well. And like literally looking at an Edouard or a Mateta. And I don't think either particularly would be options. I'd rather find a little bit more for your man, Tom. I think Mbeumo's very quietly had a very good season himself, hasn't
he? He's looking so much better at the moment. He's finally got rid of the Mbamo name from last year. He just looks so much more confident. Should have scored. I mean, the goal yesterday against Arsenal that he did score that should have probably counted, apart from a apparent foul on Saliba. Or was it Gabriel? One of them slipped and basically was disallowed. But yeah, he's just brilliant. He looks so much more confident, so much more attacking. End products there for this year. Obviously, a lot of goals behind Toney, really, in output, but he's getting better and better. I think pre-World Cup, he didn't look on it at all. He had a phenomenal World Cup. He looked unbelievable. And then, yeah, came back and has turned that form into good performances for us.
His returns since the World Cup,
all of them.
1, 1, 12, 2, 2, 12, 2. So it's very much feast or famine here, isn't it? Yeah, he's either going to be a 3-pointer in the double or get you like 15 or so, isn't he? Basically?
Yeah, could do. Yeah, I mean, if Toney is banned, then yeah, I will definitely be going into him instead. So,
okay,
he has looked good.
Mig, have you got any Brentford at the moment?
I don't at the moment, but I will do after the next. It was kind of like the looking ahead with the blank and stuff like that. I was just kind of like, do I get one in now? I don't really have that many fires. I kind of look at my team most weeks. I mean, I've still got Salah in my team. You know what I mean?
I'd be holding on to that at this stage.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I mean, I'm not going to ship him out for at least
25, mate.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been in there for months. So I've just kind of looked at it and gone, you know, whatever. I kind of dropped off a bit, but yeah, after the blank, there'll definitely be at least a couple coming in. Probably Toney. I mean, I've got Nonto at the moment, so he'll probably be shipping out for probably Toney, and probably one in the back. I do like Rico Henry. I had him last season. I've had him in my differential team. And I always tend to prefer wing backs and fullbacks to going with the centre back. So it could even be Henry after hearing what Tom said.
Tom, what would you say to people? There'll be people listening who've got, let's use an example. You've got Trippier, Shaw, Estupiñán, and me.
Yeah.
I think that's quite viable.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
All of them blank in 25.
Yeah.
What do you do? Because as well, particularly say with Trippier, obviously there's going to be a lot of value built up for many people.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I mean, Shaw's the one to go first, I think, but obviously he's banged a bloody assist.
Just dropped another 12-pointer.
Yeah, well, he sat on my bench today. That was fun. I honestly don't. So I have no idea.
It's awkward, isn't it? This is the point. I think because what you've got, like Palace at home, with respect, Mig, is obviously a reasonable fixture. Fulham at home in 26, a reasonable fixture. Yep. 28, if you play Leicester at home, reasonable fixture, and you're extremely likely to double in 29 as well. So again, for those who don't know what they're doing with chips yet and stuff, you're drawn I couldn't buy one of your players this week, I don't think.
Oh no, I mean I've got Toney this week, and before the double was announced, to be honest, I was thinking about selling him because of the blank, and then getting him back in afterwards.
Yeah.
But now obviously I'm not going to do that because it just makes no sense. I'd rather do it with other players. So Shaw's probably going to. So I've got Shaw, Trippier, don't have a Brentford defender, and Shaw's the one that's going to make way because I've got Toney the other side, if that makes sense. So obviously Toney could easily be me. So take on that side. So I'm going to have been off Shaw before 25. I don't know whether it'll be this week, probably next week. But he's going to be the one that makes way. And then I think I'll have maybe 10, maybe I'll maybe just scrape an 11 through for 25. So I'm keeping my Brentford players if I've got Brentford players now, but obviously I'm not buying this week because of the blank in 25. So
I think the closer we get, the more people will be thinking, sod this, I'm going with 9 or 10, because they'll want to keep the likes of Trippier, Rashford. If you've got people sitting there now with Trippier, Rashford, and say they've got a Stupinan, Mitoma, me, and Toney, like it's tough to make a case to sell. No, it is generally. It's tough to make a case to sell any of them when there's a good chance you'd want them all back. And so it might be that the solution is just to go, yes, sod it, I'm going to go 9 with 25. Would you consider free hitting that week?
No, not free hitting 25.
You, Mick?
I was just about to say, do you think because of so many defenders and stuff being out, would it be worth free hitting? Because normally most people free hit in a game week where there's like 8 teams playing, whereas in this one you've got like Liverpool and Arsenal obviously doubling, but then most people have triple.
Most will have the triple Arsenal, so you're basically doing it to get what Trent and Robertson on a free hit.
Doesn't seem really worth
it.
Which,
I think
I'd rather play with 9 and save the free hits, because for something that's going to be a bit more advantageous.
I mean, even manipulating around the fact that Brentford might have a double in 27 and 29 and not playing 28.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect sort of thing.
I'll free it in 27.
You're free hitting in 28 is certainty, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, I'll free it in 27 just to make sure I've got triple Brentford, and then I'll just make the substitutions to get enough for 29. So,
any a neutral opinion, Tom? Do you think you'll be considering any Palace players for 27, or is it just a case you've got to prioritise others?
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be mainly focused on Brentford and Brighton players.
They're the only ones that are likely to play in 28 as well, if the cup results go to plan. Palace are the only ones who'll double in 27 and play 28.
I'm always interested in. I mean, I'll probably go down Gay at some point, because that's always. I mean, because he's relatively cheap as well. And then I just really like Elise anyway, so I might just do it just for the absolute fun of it. Just for bands. One more player. I really like him. So
one more player I wanted to ask you about briefly before we let you go, Tom, was obviously on our minds a lot pre-season.
Yeah,
Joshua Silva's 4.1 now.
I know. Honestly, so annoying. He's become the rotation player with Vitaly Janelt. So Norgod obviously plays every game because he's just an absolute rock in the middle. He allows us to play where we play. Jensen's been on fantastic form this year, and actually someone I would be interested in maybe getting in for the double game week. He's
done well, Jensen 4.8. It's just his others around about that value have done a bit better, that's all.
Yeah, no, but he's been, I mean, for a double, he's very, because of the price and where it sits, it's not bad at all. Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? Because he's like he has moments where he just looks, I mean, it was like he was the assist for the second goal last week, and the pass was just phenomenal, like outside of the boot, curled around to him. It was just, yeah, he brings it out. He's still really young, so I think it'll get better.
What would it need? Because I'm sure there'll be people who bench boost in 29. Mm-hmm. May even I think one of the strategies you'll hear more and more about in the next couple of weeks is perhaps wildcard in 27, free hit 28, and obviously bench boost 29.
Yeah,
and if you do that, Brentford and Brighton, I think particularly, are probably going to make up quite a bit of enabling players, if you want. What would it need for us to be in a position to think that the Silva would play 4 games over that period? Does it need Janelt specifically to get an injury, for example?
I don't think there's even that, to be fair, because I mean, there's always Onyeka to come in if worse comes to worse. I think he's still available.
And Xander Baptiste's available as well now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's been out for a long time, so I don't think we'll see him pop up. But I think the issue, Janelt usually is favoured in the more defensive games, as we saw against Arsenal. And then in the games where we need a more attacking player, that's when De Silva's favoured. So that's where we've seen the split of the two, because personally, I've always been. I mean, Vitaly Janelt is fantastic himself, and they're both incredibly young, but both very different. But Janelt's more of a Norgard player, and De Silva's more of a Jensen player. And you would need. I think actually the way that the only way De Silva would play all 4 games if Matthias Jensen was to get injured. That's when
because it's a creative
because
player.
he's the only player that I can see playing. Janelt has played in that position, but only when De Silva's been out injured. So I think you could then see De Silva coming if Jensen got injured because of the form of Jensen at the moment, it would require him to actually get injured, I feel, than him to be dropped.
And I take it Sade, Damsgaard, Lewis Potter.
Sade's like super interesting for me. Because obviously we've paid a loan, but we will be paying a lot of money for him in summer.
Subject to when Toney gets banned.
Subject to when Toney gets banned. And then I think potentially you could see him come in. I think that's what we've signed him for. We signed him for as a Toney. Sorry, as between him and Vista, I'd say as Toney cover. But if he came in and had one good performance and Toney was banned, then at £5 million, he'll be someone I'll be looking to.
All right, super. Noted. Thank you, Matt. Where can everyone follow you on the Bird app, Tom?
I am FPL Dummy Tom, and I do a podcast every Monday, which I think you're coming on at some point.
Yeah. Let's make that happen very, very soon, mate. I will do that for you. So just any week that Tottenham aren't playing during the week, we'll make it happen. But don't worry, we ain't going to be in Europe for much longer.
No,
mate,
no.
So...
What do you mean bounce back at Milan this week? So
soon, I should imagine, mate. When most of you are listening to this, I'm going to be in Milan, which is a little bit weird. Mig, where can everyone follow you on the Bird app, mate?
At Migtavius, Migtavius.
Good man. Anything you want to plug while you're
here? No.
Okay. Fine.
Everyone send you happy birthday, surely.
Thank you very much. Hopefully, by now the Eagles will have won the Super Bowl, but I don't know.
That might look terrible by the time people listen to this.
It might do.
If you watch the Super Bowl, second best football in the world.
Things might look terrible.
Sure, good luck. So what you're telling me is, as we're pre-recording this on Sunday night, actually, Mig, you're going out on the lash tonight unless you'll get up. Is that what you're telling me, mate?
Okay. They ain't ready.
Super stuff. Thank you both so much, guys. If it works out for us, Tom and Mig will join us again on COTC with Sam Murray and Matt Samuel for the Double Gameweek 27 for all 4 of those teams. That's the plan if we can make it happen. I'll be back streaming tomorrow with a live stream. I don't know what time yet, because it depends what time I get back from Italy, but it's probably likely to be late afternoon, about 3 o'clock-ish is the plan. I can tell you next week's Clash of the Correspondents ahead of Gameweek 25 will be with Dan Lord and Bradley Parker, previewing the Liverpool and Wolves meeting ahead of the Double Gameweek 25 double for both of them as well. But just leaves me to say thanks again so much to Tom and to Mig. Good luck this weekend, gents. Cue music, please, man child.